Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. We got that Fly Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that Fly Nubian money, boss talk only, we stack it up.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we came across a viral video of a 31-year-old Black woman who says she's pregnant, single, and feels like the man trapped her. And you can see she's overwhelmed and trying to figure out what to do. But what really caught the attention of our producer was the comments. Because instead of people asking what she needs, thousands of people were telling her what decision to make. And the loudest response by far was to abort. As she was reading it, thinking this is a grown woman trying to make sense of her life, and somehow the internet has already decided the answer. At the same time, raising a child today can be expensive. It takes time, money, and real responsibility. And for some women, part of the stress is trying to figure out what this would look like if they ended up doing it on their own, which is a real question. So when someone says, I'm not ready, sometimes that's what they're really saying is they don't see how this will work right now. And then there's the bigger layer, because there's history around how Black families and reproduction have been talked about in this country. And whether people agree on it or not, it still shapes how these conversations show up today. So when you see thousands of people jump straight to end it without even asking what she actually needs, it makes you pause and ask, what's really driving that response? And when we say Black Lives Matter, what do we really mean? Today is going to be a very interesting conversation. We're joined by some amazing queens. We have Aisha, financial expert, and Nomalanga, marriage, motherhood, money making, and at some point, Miss Black Hollywood, Tara Williams, will be joining us. When you hear just the conversation or the topic, what are your initial thoughts, Aisha?
I was sad for her, but I also understand she must be overwhelmed, and just the overwhelming feeling of what am I going to do? It's very strong feeling, right? That was how I felt, and my quick response was just a quick prayer for her that God would give her the strength to clear her mind before she makes any decision. That was what I thought.
All right, what about you, Nomalanga?
Yeah, I don't like this topic, but we have to have this conversation, right? So my stance on terminating a living being is that you're not to do that. And I don't change. I don't like. I'm not going to change that view. However, I can understand that she's in a very, very difficult position. And I'm saying this now as a woman in my 40s, and she's, good, almost 20 years younger than me, right? So she's obviously in a different place than I am. She's probably panicking. She's probably scared. It's overwhelming. So, much like Aisha, I have a lot of compassion for her in her position. I do, however, feel like the decision-making portion of the situation is past. So she just now has to kind of move forward and hope that she will get what she needs as she goes along. And I know that's not a popular opinion, but that's what I think.
And I think it's just that. I think when you talk about the internet, these are all opinions, right? And what we're really talking about is what works for us, for me or for you or for whoever the individual is who you're speaking to or who you're asking. You're getting their opinion and what they think is right for themselves. We can't say what we think is right for somebody else because that's their life, right? But I know that this is one of those conversations and topics where you have pro-life and you have pro-choice, and you have people that say, but it's already a human being because it's been the seed has been fertilized, and so that person is a person, right? You have people who say even though it's an embryo, it is a person, it's a human being, and then you have other people who may or may not believe that. Well, it's not until it comes, full term. But as mothers, we know, you can feel your baby and all those kind of good things. I am.
And as soon as you say, LaNée, as soon as you say it's her life, there's going to be a counter of it's also the baby's life. So it's not just her life, you see? Oh, not you, but I mean the
perspective and opinion, right? That's your belief that is, right?
I'm just saying in general, if you talk about her life and her choice, I'm not arguing pro-life or pro-choice. I'm just saying if you say it's her life, it's her decision, that is absolutely true. But then there's the other side, which will say it's also the baby's life.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I think so. So we're going to watch the video, but what I will tell you is, I think that this conversation and situation is one of those things where a lot of times we're giving opinions and advice on things that we haven't experienced or gone through, and this is like a universal thing, a lot of times we don't know what we'll do until we're put in a situation, right? It's easy to say this is what I'm going to do, unless you die on the sword. Like, I don't care what it is, because I know that there are those zealots who are like, I got, the minister raped me, but I don't believe in I'm going to keep my baby. You have people who die on the sword, like, no matter what, I'm not doing it. I'm not this, and the other, because, and I always say, I don't judge in these situations, because you have to deal with yourself and your own peace of mind and what you can deal with. You have people who have gone through abortions and then kill themselves afterwards. Like, I can't believe I did it. You have people, I am one of those people. I have had abortions before. But I was young. The first time I got pregnant, I was 14, and I knew I wasn't having no baby. What I looked like at 14 with a baby. I had to take my mom. Every time I drive by the freeway, by that Sizzler, it reminds me, it freaks me out. But I knew I was making the right choice and decision for myself. Like, I have no regrets, not a single solid one. I'm just way too young to be having a baby. Now, 31 is completely different. But at 14, I knew that this was not the right choice for me. I would not have been a good mother. It would have hurt that child to have had to have a baby at 14. For me, that was my choice. My mom let me make it for myself. But each individual person has to make these types of choices for themselves. And so I'm super frustrated that a 31-year-old woman would go to the internet to ask for advice on what you should do in your personal life. As a woman, that's not the type of thing that you can ask somebody else's opinion for, unless you just feel desperate. But that's my take on it. Are we ready for the video?
Well, she didn't ask. She was live, and she didn't ask for anybody's advice. She was just boo-hooing. But when you give the internet that kind of liberty, when you go live, you allow people into your personal space. When you go to the internet and you go live, you automatically make people a part of your decision, and you allow them to make those opinions for you and tell you what you should do. And I mean, it's just natural. It's the
same thing. If you get on the internet and talk about it, you are opening yourself up to their opinion.
For judgment.
Whether you actually ask it or not, you're doing it. I'm not going to get online and give you anything that I don't want your take on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because once you get online, whether you say it or you don't say it, you're there to get feedback.
That's true.
Yeah. It made me think, because you didn't ask me what I thought, but I'm gonna tell you. But it made me think about when I was pregnant with Lauren, and I was 28 years old, and I wasn't like that though. Like, I didn't have that, but I was very scared. I felt like a teen mom at 28. Like I felt very much like I was here in the middle of I was doing film and television as an actress. I was right in the middle of my life. I felt like, I met her dad on a movie set. We were both the leads of a movie, right? And so I felt like man, what does this mean? I said, well, you know what? As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was very tear. I was like, well, I was modeling at the same time too. I said, I'll just do maternity modeling. And then I took some pictures and then sent them out to agency. It was just like a whole thing, right?
Mhm.
But I was trying, in my mind, I was trying not to give up on the things that I wanted. But I think sometimes when you get pregnant, it can look like a death of your own life, a death of your own dreams, a death of everything that you thought you were going to be. But ultimately, that ended up being my biggest blessing. So sometimes I think people can't see forward and see that your baby might be the next LeBron James, or your baby might, and we get into the conversation, but this is what it made me think first. Like this baby is a blessing somehow. It's going to grow you up, because clearly you're immature. Clearly you know, and so it was a good thing for me. If I wouldn't be the woman I am without Lauren, and I don't know I would be the woman without having a baby, you know. So I just those are my thoughts. Let's go to the
That's
first.
why I think it goes back to the person and timing. To
Mm-hmm.
your point, my life is what it is because of my son. But I'm 23, 24 when I have him. My mom was like, legit, can you do this? Is this something that you want to do? Or can you do it alone? Are you willing to? And at that point, she was like, you're further along in life than I am. You're doing way better in life than I am. I'm here for you. I got your back. And Xavier, my son, he is the reason why I have everything I have today. He's the reason why I started my first business. He's the reason why, like, who I am today is because of the woman I needed to be a good mother to him. So children are a blessing for individual. Again, I just think it's each individual person has to make that choice and decision for themselves and where they are in their life. Because at 14, 14 wouldn't have got me here. But 23 did.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting.
For me, again, I'm only
you also can't know the future, right?
We know the future. Yeah.
The other girl that I always come, not girl, she's a woman now, is Sarah Jakes Roberts. She was a bishop's daughter, and she fell pregnant at about 13, 14, and she thought her life was over, and she was just, I can't believe it, you know, the embarrassment in the church and all this. And I think what also changed the turnout of how it turned out is her parents' reaction. They didn't give her the choice of what do you want to do. It was like, it's obvious we're going to do this.
That's right.
It'll be okay. We're gonna get through this. So she wasn't giving this choice of, well, you want to keep it or you want to, so they just kind of guided her along the path. And when I mean, she's one of my favorite, aside from church or anything, she's just one of my favorite inspirational speakers. She's like fire. I love her. But it's not because necessarily because she had a kid at 14, but it makes her testimony all that much more powerful because she overcame that. So there is that. And then, you know, I want to add something, you know, in Botswana, abortion is not an option. So that's also an issue. So when you have to make that choice, you're also compromising your life because they have to do these backdoor ones or something, whatever, where it's not properly done because it's illegal and you're going in some like weird place or whatever. So there's a lot. That's why I don't like the conversation, but we have to have it. There's a lot of like little things there. But where I've settled now is fine. I really do believe a woman should have autonomy over her body and her life choices and so forth. But I also feel like an unborn baby also has these same rights. So that's the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. All right. With that being said, let's go to the first video. It is the video of the young lady, and we'll see what she has to say.
When I say life is so like, man, we be making some dumb ass fucking decisions. It's like, I know I gotta keep my baby and I gotta do what's the best and I just gotta live, but like, I just fuck. That's the worst thing in the world, bro. Bringing another baby into this life without having a fucking husband. I don't know why I'm doing this again. I fucking can't do it. God, I can't do it.
Okay, there is actually more to it. This was the other one. Okay. All right, let's take this one down. I think this is a piece of it. I may have to go grab another one, but this is basically her talking about she ain't ready. So I will start there. She ain't ready.
I'm just like tearing up just listening to her again. It's, and I know you asking me a question, but the reason why I want to speak up is because I've had two women that were in the same situation that God brought to my life that I was able to counsel through the situation. The same thing, like she was crying. I got a phone call and I met her, at the park, and she was speaking just like in her car, just like this girl was speaking, this woman is speaking. And she was just saying like almost the same thing. But I just sat there and I listened to her. But I spoke life into her. I said, your child is a blessing. This is not something we should be afraid of. I know you're scared right now. You're scared now, but your child is a blessing. Your child, I was just speaking to her and just asking her, and I just prayed with her, and she kept that baby. And I don't know where she is today, but what a blessing. We had a baby shower for both of the women, two separate women, baby shower for them. We were there for them. We supported them. So the first night I was like, wow, where is her village to support her? Who can she call just to talk with the person? And because at a time like this, it's not about the future, it's about now. We have to make them think about just focus on today. Because what happens is, oh, what about school? What about this? No, focus about today, not the 10, 50 steps ahead. That's what scares the women the most. And I just have to share that because just watching that just made me want to tear because I felt I was taken back in that car or in the office with my staff telling me that they were pregnant. I didn't know what to do. Right. So, but I'm so
How do
grateful
you know that child was a blessing?
Huh?
How do you know that child was a blessing?
Because a child is a gift from God, right? And today, these women would have not been the same with those babies. You should see them with their babies. When that baby was born, everything changed. So that's a blessing.
Has a child that she doesn't want and she beats that child or she burns that child or she drowns that child. Do you say that child was a blessing to that woman?
Well, I think it's
the woman that's not a blessing to the child.
Exactly. But the child is.
The child is a blessing.
Yes.
The child is always a blessing.
Blessing.
It's the
And
woman
if you
that's
have
not a
people
blessing
around
to the
you,
child.
yeah, if you have people around you that support you, sometimes people just are afraid because they don't have the support system. That's the biggest fear. That who can I call upon that will help me if I'm frustrated to take my child for me to help me out? To me, a child is a gift, and the circumstances may be dire. I understand that, but I also know that if God gives us a child and we actually allow God to open our eyes and to find ways and be resourceful to find help, you know what? It will work out. Some people do burn their kids because they probably have mental illness. It's not because they want to do it. Maybe something else is going on and nobody's helping them that is around them to help them. But the child itself, it's a gift, right? Some people actually are doing everything they can to have a child. People are spending so much money to get a child. It's a gift. Right. So,
you know what? My mother tells me
that is my thought and my belief.
And I'm asking because when we have, not we specifically, just the world in general, have these conversations, we push our perspectives on other people, right? So when you say a child is a gift, I may think a child is a gift, you might think a child is a gift, but the person who's in the situation who is just beat up or raped or molested, who got pregnant, they might not feel that child is a gift. So when we go into situations and push our opinions and beliefs onto somebody else and their situation, I don't feel like we get to say to that person that this thing is a gift. You have people, unless somebody looks at it from the perspective of, you know what, this is not good for me. However, I'm going to have this child because it can be a blessing to somebody else, right? There's so many different ways to look at this thing. You have people who have babies for other people. You have people who have been hurt and molested and that they still go through rape and they still have that baby. They just give it to somebody else to be a blessing. Absolutely. There's all different kinds of ways to look at it, but we can't sit and be judge and jurors of other people's choices and opinions based on what we believe ours are.
I think it's can I just say something really quick? Okay. Can I just say something really quick? I went to an abortion clinic with my cousin when she was having an abortion. I was there with her. And there was a lot of women that just was on an abortion clinic every Tuesday, just in there ratchet like that. Like it's a form of birth control. So while we talk about women that small percentage of women who are raped and beaten under circumstances that we understand. But the majority of women are just raw dogging and being irresponsible, and
I
then
wouldn't say the
saying like, I'm gonna
majority.
use,
No, I wouldn't say the majority.
and then I'm gonna use an abortion clinic as a form of
Birth control.
birth control. Do y'all remember the lady that was like, and I could pull this video while we're here, but she was like, I had 13, 14 abortions. They banned me. Can you believe I'm pregnant now? They banned me from the abortion clinic. And I was just thinking, like, that's a mentality. That's a mentality, right? So I think a lot of what I just will say around that, and most of the women in that space were Black, who was like, this your fourth time in here? I was sitting in there and I could not believe my ears. I said, oh, this is so ratchet. Like, what is this? So in that case, women are just being irresponsible. And
Yeah, no,
so
you shouldn't use
I'm a just, and that, I think that's the majority of women that go get abortions. They slip up, they don't get a plan B, they end up in an abortion clinic, and then they just kind of use
super
it.
judgmental.
Yeah, it should be judged. Why are you going to kill
that's
kids?
Not the case.
Child is something that we should have judgment about. And
yes,
I'm not talking about the child.
Something we should have judgment about. That's why we're having the conversation.
I'm judging, saying you can't just say most women are out here being lackadaisical
in those situations. Most women that are in the abortion clinics was just out there raw dogging, LaNée.
That's not necessarily true. The son that I have right now, I was on the pill. I was doing what I was supposed to do when I got pregnant with my son, the one that I have.
Mm-hmm. So that means he was meant to be here.
We can express a stance or a perspective on an issue without personalizing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. It's like we shouldn't maybe not personalize it so much. Like I said, for example, that I really felt sorry for this woman, and you would laugh when I tell you this. When I was getting married, I was only 26, and then the plan was, we're telling everybody, oh, we're engaged, we're getting married, then we're going to wait 5 years, then we're going to work and we're going to make money, then we're going to buy a house, and we're going to do this. Before the first year was over, I was already pregnant. I boo-hoo cried like I was not married and like I was not planning to have children anyway. And I was thinking, oh my God, I just got, I was about to do this. And I thought, I cried. I remember I was in church it was called a fellowship. I was in church with a very close sister of mine. And she was like, it's okay, Norma, it's okay. And she didn't understand. Like, you got married. The next step is a baby. And I was, because I had, I'd just gotten my master's degree and I wanted to go forward. I saw myself teaching in college. It was the death of a dream, the way that I pictured it, right? And I was boo-hoo crying and nobody could understand what I was going through. That being said, as the days went by, I calmed down. And again, also I talked to my mother. I remember she said exactly the same thing Aisha said. She said, a baby is such a blessing. This baby is such a blessing. And she was so happy. And of course, I was married. We had support and family and all of those things. And down the line, I just used to kind of be like, she ruined my plans, and I joke like that. But the truth is, I think with what Tia was saying, she did reshape me, because what I was doing was I was going on this trajectory of, I want this and I'm gonna do this. And I can see now at this stage, it was a very selfish kind of thing. And she kind of ripped me out of that and threw me into motherhood. And I think Tia said it. She's like, there's a way that a child grows you and develops you that may not have happened. And I've just to this day believe that that's what I needed. And I'm so thankful that, again, at the time, if I had said to my husband, like, okay, I'm going to end this child's life because we said we're waiting 5 years and it's only been 1 year and we didn't buy the house and blah, blah, blah. That wasn't really an option for me. But again, the child did turn out to be a blessing. All our children have turned out to be a blessing. And I think sometimes it's just a very emotional time. And I wonder if you should end a child's life while you're so emotional and so irrational.
Yeah, I think, there's no judgment either. After being a mom for now of 2 kids, there's no need to judge any woman, right, of her decision. But while we are there, as a representation of womanhood, we're supposed to encourage the person, That's what we're supposed to encourage you to choose, because scripture says, I have said before you life and death. Choose life. At least choose that first before you make any other decision. And then whatever you decide to do, you live in peace with it. Right? No judgment, because at the end of the day, that woman has to be the one to live with that child and all the help that she's going to need. But my responsibility as somebody that has a privilege to be there is to support them, to do the best I can, however I can, to support them. That's the best that I can do. But it's not about judgment, because I know some people that have, ended their pregnancy as well, and I don't judge them, but I try to tell them what I feel will hopefully we give them that peace of mind that they're looking for. Because a lot of women, based on all the guys I've attended to help women that have had abortions, they suffer through it. They may not want to talk about it, but there's something that reminds them of it, that they have to carry for the rest of their life, no matter what. They have to carry that with them. So, and so that's not a judgment, it's just the reality. That's just the truth, because you have this person in you that was given to you, but then now it's no longer there, right? So I think there's no judgment. I'm a mom. I've seen both ways. It's just a matter of helping someone make a good discernment that will really help them, hopefully make a choice that they will live in peace with, right? That at the end of the day, that's what we want for every woman.
So you almost said make a good decision, but you changed it to discernment, which again comes back to, and then you also I'm not alluded, but you said that you've known people on both sides. This is for anybody on the panel. If somebody came to you and disclosed to you that they were pregnant, and let's say they were struggling and they weren't sure what to do, and then let's say that they made a choice and decision that they wanted to end their pregnancy, what would you still give them support and guidance?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're still going to be there, especially if you love them and they're your friend. But I also just think about the perspective of, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure to just encourage them to have the baby. I just know how I know that sometimes people lay down and they feel like I can get pregnant at any time, but there's such a miracle that has to happen at a time when you have a baby. Like, it is really like somebody is sent to you, because I have a sister friend that has had 9 miscarriages. 9. Every time she gets pregnant, like, we have to go through a ceremony for just like the baby that didn't leave. So I know from seeing that, I just understand that it's just a temporary thought. I think about the story of my mother saying that she was going to abort me. She was at the clinic. You know what I mean? And I think about how much of a blessing I am, and to everybody that I know. But my mother reminds me all the time, like, I wasn't going to have you. I was actually at the abortion clinic, and then just randomly, she said it in a joking way, but I get really sensitive about it. But she, like, it's kind of a joke now, but it's not a joke, because I think about, but she just said, she was like, and then I got hungry, like pregnancy hungry, and I had a craving. And so then I went outside. I had just enough for an abortion. And then I went outside and just got like a snack or something. And then I didn't have enough. So I was like, I don't have enough for an abortion now. And she was like, I went and got on a bus and went home. I was like, but I think about that, like, it was a snack that saved my life. So you just think about, if you just think about it in that perspective, here we are 42 years later, and I could not be here. And that would be weird. So I'm just saying, I just know that it was very self,
a blessing. You are such a blessing.
It's such a blessing to us. See, Dr. Boy's story is the same like yours. And she was young.
His mother was 17.
And then she went and begged God, help me. And then he said, don't worry, I'll take care of you. It's hard at the moment, but at the end of the day, say you're blessed, and he's a blessing to all of us. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We have to remind people of that. And I'm not saying it's easy.
Remind people that you have to make the best choice for you and your life.
The other element that comes in is your belief in God.
Yes. You make a good choice. Yes. That person has to make the best choice for them in their life, because we're not in their life. We're not their village. We're not helping them to take care of their kids. There's a lot of folks who should not be parents. There's a lot of folks who are in bad situations who have kids and make it worse. There's a lot of women, and I hate to say it this way, but this is how I usually say it, they have keep a naked babies. They don't even want a baby. They're just having a baby to keep a man, like literally trapping a man. Like, there's a variety of reasons why people have babies. We're only talking about the blessing part, but there's another side.
My parents were not equipped to take care of babies at all. My father is still a heroin addict, and my mother is has some mental challenges, right? So you're right. Like there are and every other I had two siblings that were in foster care. I was taken from my mother, and my brother was. We all were not living with my mother, right? So some people aren't equipped to be parents, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have lived, right?
Yeah.
And we're making it
For you, it doesn't.
yeah, I'm
For
saying like
for you, it does not. But that doesn't mean it's the same for this person over here.
I
We
just think
can't
you give it away.
transpose our situation onto somebody else.
Just give the baby away then. I'm saying
The
give
thing
it a
is,
chance to live.
Aisha says a point where she says she talks about God, and that also plays an element in that. If you are a Bible believing, even other religions, it's very clear that killing is just it's a no. It's like literally one of the 10 commandments, like do not do this. There are all kinds of things sprinkled in the Bible about don't do this, but there are ones that are like literally boom.
Don't
If you
kill,
say
don't have
that you have
adultery,
these beliefs,
don't
don't
covet your
do this,
neighbor. We
right?
do all those things.
Yeah. So you can lie because you're kind of backed into a corner. And it's a small kind of thing where you can even reverse that and say, well, look, you know what? I lied and I did this. But this killing is irreversible. You see what I'm saying? Some of these things, they are things that you can correct if you realize your error. But killing, that's irreversible. You've done it and there's no coming back. And I think maybe that's where it is. And then the other problem I have is we talk about the mother's life and we seem to just forget about the child's life. It actually is a person. And it actually it's a person from the time that it's conceived. It is a person, it is a soul. And no matter how many times you talk about, well, I felt like I should have done this and this, that, and it's my, it's me and it's better for me and it's what's better for them. Is death better for the child? No.
You know what? I'm gonna play the
sin is
video
better
because
than another
I
sin.
want to
All
make
sin
sure
is evil. Is equal.
I want to play the video, and I want to make sure we understand, because Dr. LaNée, I think we're talking about two different mindsets. I hear you saying like, okay, if it's not better for the woman or the man, if they don't deserve to be parents, if they, or they can't handle, or they're not equipped to be good parents or whatever, right?
I'm saying it's that woman's
when
choice.
we're talking about
At the end of
judgment,
the day, it's her
this is the one
decision and choice. It's not
And
her. It's their choice.
these are not
just wanna
plan
play
Bs.
this
These
really
are
quick.
real going to get abortions.
Oh yeah, baby, they knew me by name.
Can we hear it?
Oh, so you went to the
Right.
abortion clinic 13 times.
Yes, I remember I had to use one of my cousin's IDs to go get my last one. Then I was like, I ain't going back.
Can we hear this, y'all?
Wow, 12 or 13. And these are not plan Bs. These are real going to get abortions.
Oh yeah, baby, they knew me by name.
Oh, so you went to the abortion clinic 13 times.
Yes, I remember I had to use one of my cousin's IDs to go get my last one. Then I was like, I ain't going back.
They won't let you come back in?
After a certain amount of times in the city, they were, hell no. Gonna send us to jail. Everybody in here, she just keep coming back.
So that's your miracle baby, in a sense of you like, I'm finna just have it.
A year before I got pregnant with my son, I had got pregnant and we was gonna keep a baby. And I miscarried.
Got you.
At like 7 months, I miscarried. It was a girl.
Wow.
Well, 6 months pregnant.
You knew what you were having.
I did not until I had until I miscarried.
Gotcha.
So then after that, about a year, I got pregnant twice. I got pregnant one more time, once or twice after that, but I wasn't ready. When I miscarried, the hardest thing was planning the funeral because I was so far along, and I went to St. Vincent's, which is a Catholic hospital. They don't believe in cremating the baby. They believe like if you miscarry, you have to take the baby and you got to bury the baby and you have to do all of that with the baby. And I had to do that. I think that was the hardest thing I had to do.
Yeah.
But girl, I was back outside. So I'm outside. I'm an outside girl though. I just love. I'm not an angry girl. I'm not a sad girl. Nothing really makes me sad. If you hurt my feelings, I always tell my guy, like if I'm in a relationship or whatever, and it's not working, or whatever, tell me, cause dump me.
You literally just did what the media does. You chose a horrible representation. But there's another side of that. But to that point, to this video, that is egregious and completely unacceptable.
But those are the young ladies that are in the abortion clinic. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying the day I went, I'm just saying a lot of the women in there. I'm not saying we're just like her, but I'm saying that mindset where there were women in there that were repeat offenders.
No, that is unacceptable. I agree with you on that.
And they weren't like planning, and then they wasn't like that, but they were having a conversation. There were women in there literally saying like, I've been here more than once. And I feel like at some point you got to turn around and just look at like if I'm in an abortion clinic a couple times, like, and it's cool. Like, again, it's cool if that's who, whatever, right? That's where you are, because we're all on different journeys. But I feel like at some point you got to look at you and say, why am I in here like this? Why am I using this as birth control? Why is this like when I get pregnant, I run to the clinic? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think you gotta ask
your own
questions.
lesson and protect yourself and your body and your well-being. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Like I'm with you. Period. I don't want to categorize every person who's doing it as that individual though.
Of course.
Right? I don't think everybody in the clinic is that lady. Do I think that they're there? Absolutely. Probably more than not. I'll even give you that one. But that's not every single person. You have some people who might be more like a Noma or a Aisha who really are in their trouble, like not knowing what to do, making a choice and then regretting it and crying for them. Like I think you have a variety of people that are in there. Are they more that woman? I don't know. I can't say. Probably so. But you have, it's not just her. Is what I would say.
I agree. It's interesting because and I guess I'll throw it to you all, just like the response. Well, I'm not hosting, but I'll throw your response. I just wanted to show that because again, like it wasn't about like making the Black woman look bad. I'm just saying, in my mind, when you say you're a repeat offender, there's some trauma there. There's some, even the way she said it, like, I had an issue with putting the baby in the ground, but you didn't have an issue having 13 abortions, right? Like it's the same thing. Like, but I guess whenever they're outside of the body and you putting it in the ground, you can see what's actually happening. But it's the same thing. Because if you
it is the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Yeah, it's just that now she was actually seeing it, whereas the last time, and they use specific language. They say, "Oh, it's just a bunch of tissue," or it's not a human yet until this, that. And I can tell you guys, aside from maybe my moral or biblical stance, I'll tell you when I made a firm and hard decision that it's a no for me. It was like a Christian site that was showing a baby being aborted, like an abortion. This baby you can't have an abortion technically beyond 12 weeks. So this was like a tiny this baby had a head and hands and whatnot. And it was a little person. And then they took like this thing and they crushed its head and it was squirming. And that's when I was just like, oh my God. It made it so real for me, like, oh my God. So it really doesn't, because there used to be this thing, like if it's before 12 weeks, it's not really a person yet and it's safe. And I think that may be the rules for it to be legal or something. I don't remember, but I know that 12 weeks is like kind of a cutoff, or maybe it's 20 or whatever it was. But this baby was tiny, probably not much bigger than my finger. But it had like, they zoomed in and it had eyes, nose, hands, everything. And it was alive after they sucked it out. Right. And then they took this thing, like, you know how you crush garlic?
Yes.
They took this thing and put it on the baby's head and they crushed it because they can't throw it away while it's alive. And they just crushed until it stopped moving. Then they gathered it up like it was trash and then they disposed of it. And that's where I made a hard and fast decision. Like, oh no. Oh my God, no. Yeah,
I would have made that choice and decision too. That is traumatizing.
It is.
In the States, they use a vacuum. You don't see it, you sleep. You knocked out, boom, in and out. They don't do all that. But you are correct. They're not supposed to do it past a certain amount of time because it can be exactly what you said, very gruesome. Which is why when she was talking about something about after 12 weeks, like that's I'll say it this way. I understand why someone does it, and I think it's somebody's choice. I think there's humane ways to do it. Like, you should not be doing it. I think it's like after 10 weeks, after 12 weeks, something like that. After you get out of your first trimester, I think that's crazy after that point. If you waited that long, you want to have the baby, like, just have it at that point.
But you can't say murder humanely.
They do it all. They literally
kill humanely.
Supposedly they murder humanely at death row. But to your point, sin is sin. Doesn't matter if you steal bubblegum or you have an abortion, it's sin. The one's not worse or bigger in God's eyes.
Actually, yes, some are worse.
The
Bible, we want to be biblical. The Bible says sin is sin. There's not a weighted sin. That's literally the Bible says.
There is weighted sin.
Man,
there actually really is. Even the consequences are different because they're not the same. You could tell a lie and then go back and say, look, I lied and I'm sorry I lied. When you kill, there's no reversing it. It's not the same. Even when you go to court.
No weight in sin.
Yeah. So I have some comments that I pulled that I thought were really interesting. I have at least like 5 sheets of comments, and these were the comments that were coming in from that video that we saw. And so I just thought that this was interesting. Actually, you know what? That's going to take us into our next video, so we're not going to read that one yet. But let's read this one. LaNée.
The Real Secret Unique said, girl, you know what to do. Return to sender. Devil in heels. Get rid of and be smarter. You too grown to be still making teenage mistakes. Underscore Shibers. You never trapped baby girl like ever. Pay that fee. Girl, just abort the mission. TF. The fuck? I don't know who this person is. Ma'am, you was literally hunching somebody that didn't see a future with you. We pose to feel bad. Excuse me, Daddy Lucci. Y'all don't need to be having babies. Y'all not mentally and financially prepared for it. Just because you got pregnant doesn't mean God won't forgive you if you send it back. If you didn't want one to begin with, get on birth control or abstain from sex. Why is this so hard to comprehend? That Dimp says, send it back to God. Girl, get off Beyonce internet with this, yeah. CloutsJones.com. Unplanned pregnancy at 31 is irresponsible as fuck. What do adults think is going to happen if they don't use protection? I'm not watching that. Is there still time? If yes, handle it. Girl, get an abortion, like what?
So there was a whole bunch of comments like that. Like literally the whole thread, thousands, y'all, like thousands. I think there was 5,000 messages on this thread. And as I was scrolling, it was just comments like that. And so it just made me think about, like, you know, what advice we're giving to each other. And like when we are in those moments, it's like there was rarely people like, that's a blessing. This is good. This is a good thing. You know, that everybody was just saying abort. So I thought that was interesting. Dr. LaNée.
I think that getting pregnant is a reality that I'm not going to place this on the woman because the man is the one who impregnates, right? So I'm not going to place this on the woman as it making it her fault. But I will say, if we know we don't want to be pregnant, we got to do the things to not get pregnant, meaning be on birth control or make him strap up or eat that plan B, girl. Like if you get cut out and you know, oh, oops, there's a chance, go to the thing and get the little plan B. Like we don't have to get pregnant. However, it doesn't lie on us because we don't get ourselves pregnant, right? How I feel about this situation in hindsight, like if I had a daughter, after knowing what I know and going what I've been through, I would protect her to not be in a position to have to make that kind of a choice and decision. Not saying that my mom didn't, I was just fast. Not saying that she didn't. I was a fast child. And I had low self-esteem and I was looking in love in all the wrong places, right? I had enough discernment to know that I was not prepared to be a mother at 14. But with that, I would make sure that my child was protected in all the ways that they needed to be protected. And I would say that to a woman at 31, I don't want to judge her, but I would say that when you know if you want to be a mom or not, you know the actions and the choices and the decisions that you're taking and the things and how you're moving, where they can go. So prior, you would have to know, how am I going to deal with this? What am I going to do? Is this the type of man that I would want to have a kid with? Again, I don't want to make it like a woman thing, because I know a lot of society puts it on the woman, because it comes back to the man. You can't get pregnant by yourself. And a lot of pregnancies could not happen if a man would just put a condom on. Like literally, if you don't want to have no baby, just put a condom on. It's that simple. I don't understand why we having these conversations. Put a condom on. Get the shot. Don't not Depo, because they I'm seeing videos on Depo every day. But there's so many different ways to not have a kid, so that you don't have to put yourself in a situation to have to choose between whether you have one or not have one. That's literally what I would preach to somebody right now. Like, just as a woman, you get to decide if you want to even be put in that situation or not, so that you don't have to go get on the internet and have other people tell you these types of things. But I think that it is disturbing, to your point, that that's the first offer. Go kill it, go kill it, go kill it. It makes it feel so impersonal, so lackadaisical. So I don't have to be responsible. I can just go out here and do what I want to do, and then just run to the clinic. I don't agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, I do think that you need an egg and a sperm in order to make
You
a
need
baby.
both.
Like,
Exactly.
you can't exact. So both have to take
Both people can
responsibility.
be
It's not.
responsible.
But if right, but you were saying we gonna just blame the sperm when you need an egg to fertilize and sperm to fertilize, right? So it's everybody's responsibility that's a part of that.
I don't want to just blame women, and I don't want to just blame men, because both people can stop it. Okay. If he's not responsible, she can be. If she's not responsible, he can be. But if we're responsible together, we don't ever have to be in this situation. But both parties have an opportunity to be responsible.
It's so radical now to just put out something so simple.
Yeah.
Can you just get married and then have all the sex that you have? And nowadays, when you say that, people are like, "Oh, please, blah, blah, blah." But the honest truth is, all of these problems come after. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think, and again, like I always have to put this out here. I'm an older woman, and I'm saying this now at this age, right?
It's so much
but
easier
when I was, it's so easy to say it now, right? I'm saying this now, but there is some wisdom in sharing this wisdom, because we now know, even if it may not be well received, even if whatever.
Yep.
I will say, I'm probably going to regret this, because I don't like sharing things that are too personal. But when I lost my virginity, I was like, one of those little Christian girls who wanted to do the right thing. And I used to tell people, you got to wait until you're married, blah, 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 And I had a cousin who I was so, so close to. She was about 10 years older than me. I put on nail polish because she put on nail polish. I learned how to put lipstick on because she, And I was telling her, I was like, I have a boyfriend. I wasn't that young. I think I was about 17 or 18, and I had never had sex, because that was like, oh my God, no. And I was talking to her, and I was telling her I have a boyfriend, and as soon as we finish high school, we're gonna get married, and then and she was like, what? And then she's like, and I was telling her, and he wants to have sex, but me, I want to wait. And she was like, girl, are you kidding me? Go have sex. That's so old fashioned. Blah, 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 blah. And I went and did it, because she said, I thought she loved me. She really did love me. And I thought that she had always kind of guided me in many different ways. And I took that and I went with it. Now, all these years later, I think that was the worst thing to listen to her. I think it was the worst thing. And I think that we do need voices, even if people laugh at us. I don't mind if people laugh at me and I say, even though I didn't do it, right? I still want to say it. Like, girl, wait, please. Don't do it. Just, if you want to go to school, go to school. There's so many other things that you can do in life rather than sleep with a boy, okay? Love yourself, honor yourself, and keep yourself. And then you should also teach our daughters that the price for your body is a ring. That's the standard. That's the standard that we need to establish. And again, people will laugh at you like, oh my God, are you even living in this century? Blah, 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 blah. But that's my stance. That's what I'm teaching my daughters. They may not do what I said. They may listen to a cousin. They may listen to an aunt. Who knows, right? But I'm not going to not say it. I'm not going to not say it. The right thing is the right thing, okay? And even then, again, there are many different circumstances. And as women, we go through many different things in life that force us into a corner. And I think LaNée said this earlier, and I couldn't agree more. It's so easy to say, well, I wouldn't do that, blah, 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 blah. But until you are backed into that corner, you don't know what you're going to do. I've seen it with women like, well, if my man cheat, I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah. And he cheats 10 times and she don't go nowhere. You see, or whatever. There's so many things that happen, right? So you really can't know. But I still think it's so important that we don't try to change what is right and what is wrong, and then also understand that there's nuance. There's a lot of different things. If it was me and I had been 14 years old, whether I'd had the baby or not had the baby, at this stage in life, I would look at it and speak on it from this stage in life, not from that stage in life. You see?
Yeah.
If I knew what I knew now at that age, is that what I would do then or not? I don't have to just stick to my position because it's already done. So I got to stick to this position. If I had if I had terminated a pregnancy at 14 years old, knowing what I know now, I would say, no, I shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
But at the time I did it. I was only 14. My goodness. Can you believe it? You see what I'm saying? You can change. I'm not saying anybody should change, but
I was saying, I look at
things.
Me specifically. I knew I made the best.
You don't have to.
That's why I think it's personal.
Yeah. So, I think I've said a lot.
Yeah, I was.
But I just want to say that there's nothing wrong with being conservative. It saves us from a lot. And I'm not saying it because I've been perfect from a young age. I'm just saying from what I know now. Okay, this is the standard that I wish we would establish for our girls. They may not follow it, but don't fuzzy what's right and what's wrong just based on the fact that they, whatever, do whatever. No, I will never agree to that.
Aisha, I do want to get
Yes,
your thoughts. I do want to play one more video. So I just want to make sure that we know that, and there's still other things we have to do, and we got 5 minutes left. So go ahead with that in mind.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, he said, marry before you carry. I'm very conservative, okay? And I have kids. They'll make their own decisions. That's the truth. But the truth always matters, that we should not destroy what we know we didn't create. So if my kids come to me today, 14, whatever age, my first thing would be, our next plan is to take care of you, to have this baby. Everybody's going to be different, and I understand that clearly. There's no judgment because it's difficult. I understand that. But my first business is, how can we uplift you, support you, encourage you to carry this baby, so that even if you cannot take care of this baby, perhaps another family will take care of this baby. That is because truth matters. And I will guide people that I know that I care about, or people that I don't even know, to do what I know is right based on the way I believe, right? And just helping them, making the right decision. And it may be conservative, but I think that we have to always stick to what is true as much as we can. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm going to go to this next video, but the reason why I pulled, as a matter of fact, let me just now bring up I think a lot of the reason why there's some cultural context to the reason why we kind of choose abort first. LaNée, if you could read that for me, because I can't see it from where I am. The top one.
Reading the comments, realizing the agenda of Margaret Sanger to kill Black babies by their own mothers is alive and well. Lord, we believe every child is a blessing, no matter how it was conceived. Your word says you knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. So we come against these demonic comments, just like Satan in John 10:10, to steal, kill, and destroy, and send them to the pits of hell. Help these women and this woman like you've helped me to see you in everything, in Jesus' name. And then right under it, the clinic's open Monday through Friday. just letting you know you have options.
That's the demons. The demons doing the work.
Okay, so I wanted
to open for repentance on Sunday.
Yeah.
I love Black people. Black people.
I hate it. I hate the internet.
Girl,
Undefeated.
I said, okay, all right. So then I found, and I took a video from our good sister and queen here, Constance Carter, because If you don't know, she makes Black history videos, and she uploads them all the time. So I wanted to just play this on Margaret Sanger, and then we can get out of here soon because we got to go. We got to go. But I wanted to play this video really quick, just so to give us some context.
Can't hear that one.
I know. What is happening? What is happening? Why is this not? Okay, hold on. Hold on.
She
Let me
looks
bring
like
it
a
in.
devil. Even her eyes.
Ooh. Okay. Until I get that together.
Just read them.
Yeah. Can you read them for me?
So our stats for today: raising a child costs $200,000 to $300,000 plus over time. Nearly 40 to 45% of pregnancies in the United States are unplanned. $233,000 to raise a child to age 17, pre-inflation estimate. Nearly 60% of women who have abortions are already mothers. Ooh, I did not know that. Okay. About 3 out of 4 women cite financial strain as a major reason. Interesting. Our spotlight today is Faye Waddleton, St. Louis, Missouri. She was the first Black woman to serve as president of Planned Parenthood. She led the organization during a time when conversations around, I'm sorry, y'all, my context is dry. She led the organization during a time when conversations around reproductive rights, access, and Black women's health were front and center. Her work sits right in the middle of today's conversation: autonomy, access, and who gets to make decisions about their own body.
Okay, so this, for whatever reason, Constance's video is not loading. Let me try it one more time, and then we're just gonna get out of here with. We can start final thoughts. I just want to play it before we go.
We'll do final thoughts. We'll go around. Try to keep them. I know she's gonna say like 45 seconds, so try to keep them
or less, because I feel like y'all already gave us a lot of y'all final thoughts. I mean, even less, because we ain't got that much time.
Just tell people what your name is and where they can find you.
if you have something to say it, but say it expeditiously.
Okay, we'll start with you, Noma. We'll start with you.
I agree. We've said a lot already, so we don't need to share any final thoughts. I will give this final thought, and just say, yeah, I really do believe a baby is a blessing, even if the circumstances don't seem to be a blessing. I believe that with all my heart. And I will say that if you don't feel that it will be a blessing to you, consider that it could be a blessing to somebody else, rather than consider killing it. That's what I'm going to say. And again, I cannot reiterate enough that I'm saying this now in my 40s. I may have said something different 20 years ago. I just want to keep it real, okay? Knowing what I know now, that's what I'm going to say. My name is Nomalanga. You can find me everywhere, actually. Facebook, I'm Nomalanga Khaburoni. Instagram, I'm Noma Moses. And I also ask you to support our Paths for Our Girls charity. Quickly, I'll just say that our best supporters are actually this audience, because I always see little boop, 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 boop after the show, people donating, and I really appreciate it. Our charity helps young girls here in Botswana, and we're hoping to broaden that, who are really just so poor that they cannot afford a sanitary pad. And the result is that oftentimes they will just not go to school for that week until they get the period over, and then they go back to school. So we want to help them stay in school and not miss out on important parts of life. So what we do is we donate pads for them, and the smallest amount counts. Please go to padsforourgirls.com, and there's a donate button. And if you feel inclined to do that, please do.
I love it. Thank you so much, Noma. It's always a great conversation when you're here. Aisha, your final thought?
Final thoughts. I also believe that having a child is a blessing. And of course, circumstances sometimes may be difficult, but just don't make a rash decision. If you're a woman, maybe thinking about what to do next, just take some time to really think through your decision-making process, and know that there's help if you really want to be resourceful and ask for help, and know that there are a lot of people out there that want to support you, and to make it right. But if you decide to do something at the end, live in peace with your decision, but also know that always you are a blessing. Just like you were born, you're a blessing. Every child is a blessing. That's my final thought. You can find me at the Black Business School and also at aishaverzi.com.
Awesome. Thank you for being here as well, Aisha. I appreciate you. Miss Black Hollywood. Final thought. Keep it concise and short, though. We got to get to it. We got to get out of here.
Listen, Miss Black Hollywood wasn't almost Miss Black Hollywood. I'm going to let y'all let that sink in because, you know, for years I've been told that just out of fear and pure sheer fear, like that's it, somebody almost did not have me just because she didn't know what she was going to do, and she was 20 years old. So I would just say it's going to be greater later. Even if it feels crazy right now, it's going to be greater later. I think that just overall, I say this almost every day that I get on this show, that I just feel like in general women need a little bit more planning, or Black people just need to plan and really just think about life before it happens. I don't think we should be caught on the blind side. We should just always kind of just be like, well, just in case this happens, what would I do? So I just start thinking about the future. So that's all I got to say. I'm at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms if you want to holler at me. And then, in like less than 2 weeks, I'll be in Miami with Dr. LaNée. I'm going to be teaching storytelling and, teaching how to make your story, because that's the one thing that we all have. We all have a testimony. And I believe that we should share it. I believe that it'll change other people's lives. When people hear that your story, and I think this is a great example of that, they change. And so I think it's important that we all tell our story. And I can help you do that. MissBlackHollywood.net. All right.
Yeah. I'm going to make it really simple. And I'm going to say today's a great conversation. I almost wasn't going to have it. Like somebody almost wasn't going to have their baby. But I realized that it's important to show up.
Okay.
It's important to show up. At the end of the day, this is my final thought is do what's right for you. Because you're the only person who has to wake up and look at yourself in the morning. You're the only person that has to explain yourself to God at the end of the day. So at the very end of the day, what can you live with? What are you okay with? Because you don't really know until you go through it, until you live through it, until you experience it. You might say you're okay with having an abortion. You get pregnant and be like, I can't do it. I thought I could, but I couldn't. We just don't know it. And I'm using that because that's what we're talking about. But it could be like Noma said, it could be cheating. It could be a variety of different things that we say we're not going to do, and then we do. We just don't know. So I think at the end of the day, it's giving people grace to be able to make their own choices and decisions, but also, like Aisha said, showing up and being of support. We don't know. So our first thing is going to be to encourage and to support and to be a village. Having a child, becoming pregnant, it is a precious thing from God. Like somebody said it in the comments, some people can do it and some people can't. Some people struggle with it. If you feel called to be of service and to use your body in that way, have a baby and give it to someone, do that. There's just so many options out there. Having an abortion is not the only one. There's a variety of them, but as a person, you have to deal with it. And we're talking about abortion. This can be anything in your life, relationship, a job, a business. You have to be discernment. We have to have good discernment in our lives, right? That being said, you should be discerning coming to Black Power in 2 weeks so that you can come in here and get some information about your business. It is going to be amazing every day that as we get closer. It is just becoming more evident that people want to be in the room. And as of yesterday, if you can buy a virtual ticket, boom, boom, boom. You can buy a virtual ticket. So if you cannot make it to Miami, you can go to blackpower.com right there. Under the in-person ticket is a virtual ticket. And you can save $50 on your virtual ticket if you use the code FNM, which is Fly Nubian Money, FNM50. So FNM50 gets you a ticket for $149. $149 virtual conference. If you can't be in the room in Miami, go get your virtual ticket. That being said, close this out. At the end of the day, this isn't about telling women what to do. It's about understanding what's driving the decision, because when money, fear, and outside voices get loud, it stops feeling like a choice. And that's the part we need to talk about. We're not here to judge. We're not judge and juror. We're not God. But it is a conversation that people need to hear. And we do need to talk about, because there are multiple sides of this conversation. And it just feels good to talk, right? So thank you guys for showing up today like you do all the time. For those of you in the chat, we appreciate you always showing up and being here. As always, go out, be blessed. Have a great day. Stay Black and be one. We'll see you tomorrow.